Hello guys, and welcome back to another video. In this video, I will talk about all you need to know when border crossing. Last year, I traveled through Central America and Southeast Asia, and I did no less than 11 overland border crossings. And in previous years, I've done even more. So I would call myself an expert when it comes to border crossings. Here is what I think you should know. Let's talk about what you must do before going. First of all, you need to check if your passport is still valid for another 6 months. A lot of the countries won't let you in if your passport expires in less than 6 months. You will obviously also need plenty of blank pages in your passport for the stamps and visas that you will be getting along the way. Personally, I would also make a copy of my passport and make sure that I have it on me at all times. I always take an emergency envelope which has a copy of my passport but also the little pass photos, because you never know, in case something happens, you will need those as your backup. Some countries will require you to do an online registration or apply for an e-visa. I will put a link in the description below where you can check if you need a visa or any registration or documents when you travel from your country to any other country in the world. Plenty of countries do a visa on arrival, but this is unfortunately different for every single nationality. Okay, now flash forward, you are at your destination and you are about to do a border crossing. There are certain things that I would do in preparation. First of all, I download the map offline of the country that I will be going to. You can do this on maps.me, which is an app, or even Google Maps has this feature right now. It is to make sure that you know where you are going once you've crossed the border, just in case you will not have any connection. Another thing that you can do to make sure that you get from the border to your point of destination efficiently is by researching the best mode of transportation once you get on the other side. This could be anything, but we'll get into it later. It's also useful to always have some dollars on you. Make sure you have some cash in dollars, and also that you know the conversion rate of the currency that you will have to use on the other side of the border, because once you get to an ATM on the other side, you will need to know what the equivalent is of, for example, 100 USD, so that you can take out the right amount of money. So that's just some research that you can do before heading out. Some more preparations is making sure you are comfortable throughout the journey. Wear comfortable clothes, bring plenty of water, maybe even bring a pillow and an eye mask if you plan to be sleeping throughout the journey. And most important to me is having plenty of snacks, because you never know when you will be stopping along the way and when you will be able to eat. I also make sure that I have plenty of entertainment downloaded, so this could be podcasts on Spotify or series on Netflix. Right. You've done all this and you arrive at the border. This could be either with public transportation that just drops you off at the border, or it could be with a shuttle that takes you from one place in your first country to another place in the next. Personally, I really prefer the second option when it comes to border crossings. I will tell you why in just a second. But first you will have to check out at the country that you are leaving. This is the easiest thing. You go to the immigration office and they will check if you did not overstay your visa. So when entering a country, you only have a limited amount of time that you can stay, and they are just going to check if you have respected this. They can see this by the first stamp that was put in your passport when arriving. So they will check this and then they will stamp you out of the country. Easy as that, as long as you did not overstay. Got my exit stamp for Guatemala from a woman who really loves her job. Not. Some countries will ask for an exit fee. For example, Belize has a $20 exit fee. You will need to make sure that you have these $20 in cash on you. Sometimes you can pay it in the local currency still. So usually I make sure that I've spent all the local currency of the country I am leaving, but I double check before the border crossing if I will need any more cash at the border. It'll be less of a fuss of calculating how much of the local currency you need to have left if you just pay in dollars, which usually is always possible. Sometimes even favored. In Costa Rica, I also had to pay an exit fee, and you could do this online, but I didn't do that, and luckily it was still possible on site, but definitely make sure that you check this. Then once you have successfully exited a country, you will then need to enter the next. And sometimes these two checkpoints are in the same building, like in Botswana. It was super easy to get from Zambia to Botswana because both checkpoints were in the same office. So you would just stand in line, go to the first checkpoint, go to the second, and you were done. This is not always the case. A lot of country borders are rivers, so sometimes you will have to cross a river in order to get to the second checkpoint. Or even if there is no river, there could be up to 1 kilometer in between point A and point B. If you will be walking with all your bags, this is not going to be fun. Some borders even offer a bus to take you from point A to point B across the river or simply 1 kilometer further along. Or if you have taken a transfer, which I would recommend especially in Central America, the transfer will drop you off at the exit, pick you up again, drive you to the second stop, tell you all you can expect at the different border stops, and then continue driving from the border to your end destination. This is by far the most hassle-free and just most enjoyable way to cross a border. I remember the Nicaragua border crossing from Costa Rica to Nicaragua. It was such a long walk in the blazing heat. I did not enjoy that at all. Right, no matter which way, you have now made it to the second checkpoint, the entry point to the new country. Here, oftentimes, they will scan your bags to check if there is nothing illegal in them. Try not to bring fresh fruits or veg and meat across the borders, because oftentimes they do not want you to bring those things from one country to the next. And also some countries like Nicaragua do not like you to bring very big camera lenses, and drones are absolutely forbidden to even be brought into the country. So these are things that you might get in trouble for. So definitely check if there is anything that you cannot bring into the country. If you are crossing a border with a bus, sometimes you will have to cross the border without your luggage, and then the bus crosses with your luggage, but then all the luggage has to be taken off and be double checked. So either with a scan or even opened up manually. I had this on the border between Namibia and South Africa. They literally unloaded the entire bus and opened everything up. This took so long. It was very inefficient, but it is part of the border crossing process. Sometimes you need to fill in a form with personal information when leaving and entering a country. That really depends on the country itself. But yeah, you can definitely expect to fill out some personal information along with just showing the officer your passport. In Laos, I also needed a small pass photo to be put on this piece of paper with all my personal information. Luckily, I had one on me because otherwise you might be in trouble. According to your nationality, they will then give you a stamp or even a sticker in your passport to tell you how long you can stay. And then welcome! You've made it to your country of destination. But then you're there with no cell phone reception, no local currency, and you still need to make your way to your end destination. If you're with the transfer, then great, just continue your way to your accommodation. But if you're not, you will probably first want to get a local SIM card, or you could use an eSIM, like for example the one with Eralo that covers all of Latin America, so that you do not need to get a local SIM card in every single country you go, but you can simply keep using one eSIM. This takes away a lot of the hassle of getting a new SIM card each time, losing your reception, etc. But it is often a bit more expensive than the local SIM cards. However, it also makes it possible to keep using your SIM card from back home. So a lot of the times you will need your national SIM card to do some verifications. Some codes get sent to your local SIM card, and then you're like, oh, now I have another SIM card, and it's just a mess. You don't want to lose your own SIM card, etc. So an eSIM could be an option here. Or you can just go to the closest shop and buy a local SIM card. Another thing you will have to do is take out some local currency, especially if you plan on taking a local bus or a taxi once you have crossed the border. Often there are people at the border before you cross that will take your local currency and convert it into the one you will be needing, but the conversion rate isn't always the best. But yeah, you could definitely do this as well. And then it is up to you how you make your way to your accommodation. You will have done your research on the transportation beforehand. You will have an offline map downloaded just in case you do not have a SIM card yet. You have some currency to pay for your transportation, etc. And you will make it to your next destination safely. So yeah, that is how I have experienced border crossing. I am not a fan of border crossings. I always dread them because you never know how long they will take, how efficient they will be, if the people are going to be nice or simply just make an issue out of everything. I know that I am personally very privileged with the fact that my passport allows me to travel to so many countries and just get me a visa on arrival, or just allow me into all of these countries, because before traveling I never knew that this was not the case for everyone. Depending on where you are born, you are not free to move in between countries. In my opinion, everyone should be In my opinion, everyone should have the luxury of being able to travel and experience what I am so grateful to experience. But that is still not the case today, and hopefully maybe someday I can take some action towards that. But anyways, I hope this was useful for you, and if you are interested in getting more of these recommendations and travel tips, then definitely subscribe to my channel and follow along for more interesting videos. So I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!